Welcome to BMC Global Live, Alilal Health World. It's me, Nadia, here, and today we have with us Dr. Rupchand, neurologist from Alilal, Moharak. Like we discussed in the last episode about the stroke and its treatment, and today we are going to discuss about migraine and its remedies or the treatment. So, Doctor, welcome to the show. Doctor.
Yeah. So I believe we had a lot of viewership in our last stroke. Yes. So I'm really thrilled to come again to this venue to discuss regarding migraine.
Yes, doctor. We had lot of views, and even people had lot of questions.
Okay.
Regarding stroke.
Okay. Hope I can ask the team, and maybe I'll be able to help them in some way.
It will be great, doctor.
Yeah.
Yes, doctor. So today we would like to know about migraine and its treatment.
Sure, definitely.
Yes, doctor. So, actually, what is migraine?
Migraine is a headache syndrome. Okay. There are different types of headache. So there are primary headaches, there are secondary headaches. Primary headaches are headaches in which usually the clinical examination of the patient and a scan, we take a CT scan or an MRI scan, that will be normal. That means it is due to a microstructural defect in the brain. Okay, that means certain chemicals inside the brain changes, and it is due to that the patient is getting the headache. And these are called periodic headache syndromes. That means these headaches comes periodically. But always keep in mind that since this migraine doesn't have any clinical or any CT-wise changes, it can't affect you in a bad way. It will affect you in a bad way in the sense that it can affect your mental productivity. So just imagine you yourself having a headache. Can you work focused? No. You will be more impulsive, you will be more angry, you may have irritate, definitely. Yes. So this is what migraine does. So one of the most commonest headache syndrome is migraine.
Okay. And what causes migraine, doctor?
Migraine, we cannot just say that any one factor causes migraine. Migraine is a multifactorial thing. First, we need a person who have a genetic predisposition for migraine.
Okay, so it is a heredity.
It has got hereditary factors, because if let's say if one of the parent is having migraine, there is a 40% chance that one of their children may be having migraine. If both of them are migraineurs, there is an 80% chance that the kids will develop migraine. So one, you need to have somebody who is genetically predisposed. Then there are a lot of environmental factors. Stress, lack of sleep, especially certain food materials like overuse of caffeinated drinks, coffee, tea, colas, and also the monosodium glutamate, or what do you say, this Ajinomoto,
yes,
which is an omnipresent thing in almost all the fast food.
Yeah, all the fast food. Yes, it is there in the fast food. Burgers.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. There is no problem in taking Ajinomoto. It produces a taste called umami, which is the latest taste actually. But in migraineurs, this thing precipitates a migraine. Also in certain types of ice creams, this contains something called aspartame. That also produces migraine. Then especially for our male child who take alcoholic beverages, almost all of the alcoholic beverages produces migraine. And also cigarette smoking produces migraine. Then in females, especially when they are having their menstrual periods, due to this sudden fluctuation in the hormones, they get migraines. So there are a lot of factors predisposing to migraine in a genetically predisposed person. We can say like that.
So, doctor, will the painkillers cure migraine?
Many a time, what a common man does is when they get a headache, they go and the most sought after remedy is to take a painkiller. But painkiller will just take care of the pain, whatever be the cause of the pain. The pain may be from a sinus infection, the pain may be from an eye problem, the pain may be due to migraine, the pain may be due to a dental. So there are n number of causes of headaches, and the painkiller will just control the headache, doesn't address the root cause.
Okay.
So whenever you are having recurrent periodic headaches, better you go see a doctor. They will typify this into either a migraine or a tension headache or a cluster headache or any other trigeminal autonomic cephalalgias, and they can start appropriate medicine that addresses the root cause rather than taking a painkiller.
So, doctor, is it important to cure migraine?
That is a very good question, rather, because migraine, as I have told you, it is a genetic syndrome. So it's just like the color of your eye or the character of you. You are born with it. So you will have to learn to live with this.
So
it will be there forever. But then again, migraine has got a bimodal peaking. That means it peaks during two particular age groups. Firstly, it peaks between 30s and 40s. Then it automatically comes down. Then it again peaks after 60s. Okay, so there is a bimodal peak, and also females are 4 times affected than males with migraine. So that is also very important. So there will be 4 times more number of females with migraine than in males. Okay, so we have to keep all these things in mind while going for treatment for migraine. Second thing, taking treatment for migraine is very important, because World Health Organization have classified migraine as among the 10 most disabling diseases. So the first may be a cancer. So in among those 10, migraine is there. It's actually the seventh. So a migrainer again will have a bad quality of life if they are not taking appropriate treatment for migraine. That is the main thing. They are prone to develop depression, anxiety disorder, sleep disorder. They are prone to develop hypertension and even strokes.
Even stroke?
Yeah. There is a migraine associated stroke syndromes actually, CADASIL and CARASIL. These are 2 types of migraine associated stroke syndromes in which the person develops strokes. Okay. And then again, there are different types of migraine. Okay. There are at least 13 types of migraine.
13?
Yeah. That again you have to classify and treat accordingly. Okay. So there comes the importance of proper medication. And also migraine treatments varies with age, varies with your profession, varies with your need. So there is not only one medicine to treat migraine. There are n number of medicines, and we choose this medicine based upon the characteristics of the migraine, the patient preference and the patient tolerance. So for example, the most commonly used migraine treatment is propranolol. This is a medicine actually used for treating hypertension. So this medicine, if take at appropriate dose for an appropriate period of time, we can get good control. But then again, certain types of people, we cannot use this medicine for, like asthmatics or in people with uncontrolled diabetes or cholesterol. We may not prefer this medicine. In them, we use another set of medicine. Most of these medicines are either anti-epileptics, calcium channel blockers, or antihypertensive medications. So people often confuse these medications, and they come back to us claiming that, doctor, the medicine you gave me is an anti-epileptic or an antidepressant. And it's very difficult as a doctor to explain to them that this is the treatment. And then again, these kinds of avenues help doctors like us, because we can now openly say this to the people that no, it is like this.
And doctor, what I feel is, like in the present generation, there are more cases of
migraine. That is mainly due to 2 reasons. One, doctors are now well trained to diagnose migraine, because previously we diagnosed migraine with a criteria called International Headache Society criteria 3rd version. Okay. Now doctors are well aware of this, one thing. Second thing, stress factors that precipitate migraine are more in this fast world. So that is the 2 reasons why we are seeing that there are more number of migraineurs now.
Welcome back. You're watching BMC Global Live, Halilal Health World. Doctor, can you please elaborate as the treatment for migraine?
Yes, I can elaborate on that. Classically, we divide migraine into two types, migraine with aura and migraine without aura. Aura means it's a sensory perception that usually occurs before the migraine. The most commonest one is the visual disturbance. Certain people see the zigzag lines or blackening of vision just prior to the onset of the severe headache. Okay, these headaches are usually throbbing type of headache, usually over the one side. There will be associated nausea, vomiting, impulsivity, lack of sleep. Okay, so we classify into with aura and without aura. If it is a migraine with aura, we need to evaluate for certain other things or certain vascular abnormalities of the brain. There is a rare chance that there is some abnormal blood vessel in the brain that is causing this visual abnormality, or it could be a minor stroke also that causing this visual abnormality and sometimes headache. So we need to evaluate for that. Migraine without aura, a proper clinical examination and a history, we can diagnose it without any scanning. Most of the time the patient may be worried that they are having a headache syndrome for so long. So why this doctor is not recommending a scan? So if the doctor has done a proper clinical examination and take a beautiful history, then he will be confidently able to diagnose migraine. Based on that, we usually start prophylaxis based on the number of severity of migraine attacks. So if migraine without aura, we can roughly say that if the patient is getting more than 4 migraine attacks in 1 month, he or she should take prophylactic medication. With aura, because the patient develops this visual disturbance, these are much more dangerous. Imagine if the patient is driving and he is at a junction and he is about to cross a red light and he suddenly develops this visual aura. So he'll be missing the red light. He can make an accident. So in such situation, only even a single episode per month, we need to treat a migraine with aura. The treatment is again, as I have told, based on the type of migraine and patient preferences. Okay, we use antihypertensive medications like propranolol. We use calcium channel blockers like verapamil and flunarizine. We use anti-epileptic medications like topiramate, sodium valproate, gabapentin. We use antipsychotics sometimes, tricyclic antidepressants, SSRI antidepressants. So there are a lot of medications. The important thing is that the minimum therapeutic period is for 6 months. So the patient have to take the medication for a minimum period of 6 months. That is the minimum period. Sometimes they may have to take these medications for years. See, the important thing regarding migraine treatment is we are treating the patient to have a quality life. So first, as a doctor, we need to tell them or make them understand this factor. Otherwise, they may be of the false assumption that doctor is treating to cure them of the migraine. So migraine being a genetic syndrome, it will rebound back due to stress, strain, inadequate sleep or any other. Plus, patient is also advised certain lifestyle modification. Okay. And we often, with bad migraineurs, we recommend them to do something called a migraine diary, in which the patient can mark how many hours of headache, how many days, any associated symptoms, medicine they took, any other associated problem they had.
Make a note of it.
Yeah. Okay. So this is how in generally we manage migraine.
Doctor, what is the lifestyle modification they have to do?
Yeah, the lifestyle modifications they have to do is they may have to make certain changes in their lifestyle based upon any precipitating factors if they could identify one. Okay, like if a particular food is precipitating a migraine attack, they may have to modify it. They may have to avoid it totally, or they may have to reduce consumption. For especially some people, they practically run on coffee. Yes. Coffee contains caffeine. Caffeine, in a way, it is good for migraine, but the problem is the minute the caffeine level falls in your blood, the migraine comes back, and it comes back with a vengeance. So the headache severity will be more. So the patient will be taking more and more coffee, and this coffee is not good for your heart and your cardiovascular system. So that will make the person develop hypertension and heart diseases. So we cannot recommend coffee as a remedy for migraine. So you have to cut down your coffee, number of coffees. Like that, any particular food material. Then again, any other lifestyle like lack of sleep. Some people may have anxiety issues and they may not be getting adequate sleep at night time. This can again cause a migraine in the morning hours. That can again worsen their anxiety. So let's say it's like a vicious cycle. One precipitates the other and the other one precipitates the original one. So it goes on. So in such cases, we may have to treat both issues. We have to address the anxiety issue. We have to address the migraine issue. Or some people may have insomnia problems without anxiety, generally insomnia problem. We may have to address that. So a careful history regarding the patient's sleep, patient's day-to-day activities is very important in managing. And giving lifestyle advices is also very important. We cannot keep the patient for so long on certain medications. In such patients, this migraine diary with lifestyle modification really works wonders.
So what about tea, doctor?
Even tea, it contains caffeine and theophylline. They both have the same effect. So what I would recommend is maximum number of tea plus coffee is 3 for you. So if you are if you are taking more than that, because see, any other the soft drinks, these caffeinated drinks, they contain caffeine. So if you are taking along with that, it's more.
Okay, if a person is not taking like soft drinks, only he is addicted to tea.
There you said it again, addicted to. That means they have to cut down.
Okay. And is all kind of headaches considered as a migraine?
No. Migraine, the classical description is unilateral or bilateral alternating type of throbbing, moderate to severe headache with or without nausea, vomiting, photophobia, phonophobia, or auras. As a neurologist, I should know this by heart. So it's a rather large description, but it's based on that we diagnose a migraine. And there is no other cause to cause this migraine. So to rule out no other cause, we have to do a proper clinical examination, look into the eyes of the patient to see that the pressure inside the brain is not high. So we have all these things, then only we can come to a clinical conclusion that okay, he is having or she is having a migraine.
Okay. And if it is not treated, say what are the complications?
As I have told, the most commonest complication is anxiety disorder and depression, especially middle-aged females. The third most is sleep difficulties, sleep problems. And the most important thing is that lack of energy and impulsivity. They are prone to develop social and familial issues. Because of this impulsivity and irritability, they'll be irritable all the time, and this can lead on to anger outburst. So generally, studies say that uncontrolled migraineurs have a poor quality of life.
I have seen, doctor, like most of the people who have, like I have met who has migraine, they'll be very irritated and they don't want to mingle with people, and they prefer to stay on their own inside.
Because when they have a migraine, what migraine does is that they makes him hypersensitive, hypersensitive to light, sound and emotions. Okay, this is actually due to a funny thing. It's called electrocortical suppression. Your brain goes into a slow mode, so it cannot process all the data. So it wants to stay calm and still. So it throws a headache. So in that situation, if the patient is again stimulated, they'll get irritated. They'll have anger or rather temper tantrums.
They get angry very soon.
Exactly.
Okay. And is like it stays for how many days, doctor? Minimum and maximum?
Minimum migraine usually lasts for 4 hours. Maximum it can last up to a week. We call it status migrainosis, in which the patient develops severe recurrent migraine, daily attacks with this vomiting, difficulty to take food, They will be cachectic, emaciated, dehydrated.
Thank you so much, doctor, for very important information you gave.
Definitely.
And before we wind up, I just
Sure.
want to know, doctor, like since how long you are in Bahrain?
I'm actually quite new to Bahrain. I'm only last 2 years. I came in November 2018, so this is my second year in Bahrain. I have completed my second year in Bahrain.
What about your family?
My family is also here with me. My wife is a dermatologist. She's also working with me in Moharak,
Hilal.
Al Hilal Moharak.
Okay,
Yeah.
Al-Hilal Moharak. Okay. And like, how did you find Bahrain?
It's beautiful, laid back, and not much rush. So I like Bahrain.
Okay. And where did you do your education, doctor? Like what?
Though my name may sound a little North Indian, I'm from the southernmost part of India, from Kerala. I did all my studies in Kerala. My MBBS from Kannur Medical College, my MD from Trivandrum Medical College, my DM, my PhD, that's from Alleppey Medical College. So these three government medical colleges were my alma mater.
Okay. So before Bahrain, like
Yeah.
before you come to Bahrain, where was-
I was actually in a corporate sector hospital. So it was in my place only in Kottayam, 250 bedded hospital, and I was the single consultant neurologist handling everything.
Thank you so much, doctor. It was really great meeting you
Definitely.
and to know about you. So today we are going to wind up this episode. Please do like our Facebook page and subscribe our YouTube channel, and please do support us. It's me, Nadia, signing out. Thank you so much.